What if I told you that today in my hands, I have a rifle that you've likely never heard about, yet it's better than nearly all the other ones you have heard about? And what I'm talking about is the Mitchell Defense SOIDC DOC rifle. SOIDC stands for Special Operations Independent Duty Corpsman. And this rifle itself is a flat out premium rifle that for once, out of all the ARs on the market, I feel like it's truly worth the premium price tag that it does fetch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cover all the features on this rifle that are, let's say, milquetoast per se. And what I mean by that is that what you should expect on a premium rifle you get on this rifle. Starting off, your safety selector switch on here is an ambi safety selector from Radian. The charging handle on here is a Radian Raptor charging handle, the ambi one, and it's also marked on here for Mitchell Defense that they have it engraved on there as well. Then the trigger on here is an absolutely fantastic trigger. What I love to see, especially with this rifle, and when we're talking about premium ARs in general, is that if you're gonna go out and you're gonna make a premium AR, don't put a mil-spec trigger in it. And there's a very specific company that charges a little over $2,000 usually, and they put a junk mil-spec trigger in here. This is not. This has the two-stage Geisley SSA trigger on here. So what that is a two-stage. You have about a 2.5 pound take up at the beginning, and then a 2 pound breaking weight that's crisp clean with a very short reset. And this trigger is absolutely fantastic. So it's good to see you could buy a premium AR that does not have a crappy trigger. It has a really good trigger that I will never change. 6-position buffer tube here on the rear that does have drain holes in it as well. On this particular rifle, you see it has Magpul SLS furniture here on the rear, and then the MOE grip here, which is like that rubberized style. And then the billet upper and lower are machined so well and they fit so well that there is no wobble. And what's really cool to see with this rifle is you see a lot of companies that come out and they make an upper and a lower, and then they actually put a tensioning screw in there to keep the wobble out of it, and ultimately, let's say, make a QC process to make sure their upper and lower don't have any wobble. Or you could just essentially make a matching set that is machined so well there is no wobble in it whatsoever. And that's what Mitchell Defense has done with this rifle itself. Again, I keep talking that this is a premium rifle. The price tag on this rifle is nearly $2,800. Okay, so it's a very expensive rifle, but there are features in here, and you're gonna see in particular that make this rifle cost that much. What really makes this rifle premium though is the barrel on here. What you can see is it's significantly different than everything else you see out there, generally speaking, in this price range. This is a carbon fiber wrap barrel from Proof Research. It is a 1-in-7, 223 chamber barrel, and it's extremely accurate. This is hands down the most accurate AR I have ever shot in from a factory. I know some folks go out there and they build ARs and everything like that, and you can go through all that process of taking all that time and trying to really squeeze accuracy out of your AR platform. But this 16-inch Mitchell Defense SOIDC rifle is extremely accurate. In testing so far with simple, let's say, Frontier ammunition from Hornady, this thing shoots sub-Moa with ball ammunition. Okay, it shoots half MOA with some of your match stuff, and we're going to shoot it today so you guys get to see that accuracy out of it. And of course, if you're somebody that's familiar with rifles at all, you know who Proof Research is. And Proof Research makes the absolute best carbon fiber barrels on the market, and they have it in this rifle for Mitchell Defense. And I love seeing that. A couple other finer notes with this rifle is that the billet machined upper and lower is actually ambi, okay, for your bolt release. So the bolt release is ambidextrous on here. It's very smooth. If you're somebody that's familiar with ambi bolt releases, not all of them are all that easy to push, and sometimes they take quite a bit of pressure. The LWRC that we reviewed, easy to push. However, it did take a significant amount of pressure from my index finger to actually hit that button and release that bolt. This rifle is extremely easy to do, and it takes nearly no effort. It's really smooth. And that's probably the best thing that I like about that part, is that it doesn't take much effort to release the bolt on here. Again, it's not a bolt catch, it's just an ambi bolt release. You'll see also, it does not have an ambi magazine release. Now, from talking to Nathan Mitchell at Mitchell Defense about that, him and I, we both agreed. With an ambi magazine release with some rifles, the issue you have, especially for right-handed shooters, which is the majority of the market, that magazine release, when you're wearing body armor, you're wearing kit with magazines, and the rifle's slung on you, it would actually bump against you and release your magazine because it's bumping against that button. So we purposely omitted it and left it off this rifle, which I really like because it's thought out, okay? And it's not just kind of going with the status quo saying we have to have an ambi on both sides, because it's not necessarily the case. And if you're a left-handed shooter and you spend time around an AR platform rifle, chances are you've gotten very used to operating a quote-unquote right-handed rifle, and you're very familiar with it, and it's not something you're too concerned about. The trigger guard here on the bottom is billet. Again, it's all machined into here. It's not a separate piece or anything like that. It is flared and enlarged, so you can get gloved hands in there, which I don't really have any issues generally myself. The magazine well on here, it is flared or enlarged, so it is significantly larger than your standard, let's say, mil-spec magazine well. The front of the magazine well here is actually textured and it has some grooves on it for actually catching on barricades and things like that. And I had the opportunity to take this rifle out to a class with Achilles Heel Tactical, which was a rifle and pistol dynamics class. And you'll see that the bottom of the handguard here is all chewed up and it's actually scratched up and things like that, because I was shooting this rifle a lot off barricades at distances, let's say from 50 yards all the way out to almost 300 yards, and had no issues hitting, let's say, 2-inch plates at nearly 300 yards with this rifle because it's that accurate. And the handguard itself here does have M-lock slots all the way around it, not just at 3, 6, and 9 o'clock. And then it does have QD sockets on the rifle as well. On this particular one, because of the Proof Research barrel, they are not anti-rotation. And the reason for that being is because the Proof Research barrel is thicker than your average AR barrel, you can't actually fit a QD socket inside this handguard and still keep it very, very slim that's anti-rotation. So not really concerned with that. Biggest reason for that being too is that if you're not familiar with AR handguards in general, unless they have steel inserts over time and significant, let's say, duty use, those QD sockets will actually wear out and they'll start to basically fall out, and your sling sockets and all that will fall out of them because they twist so much and they'll wear down on it. So you need steel inserts, and actually, you know, just being able to just mount an M-lock attachment QD socket on there is no issue for me. I have tons of them and they cost usually less than 20 bucks. Outside of that though, you know, the handguard has anti-rotation tabs, and it also is fit very, very well, matches up with the rifle nicely. It's engraved by Mitchell Defense. Nearly everything on this rifle is produced by Mitchell Defense, with the exception on this model in particular with this Proof Research barrel. The obvious things that I said I'm very glad they went to another manufacturer to do. Obviously with this rifle and everything I said about it, you'll see I have a EOTech Voodoo 1-10 mounted on this rifle with an offset Steiner MPS and a Badger Ordnance mount. Awesome setup for this rifle. You'll see I don't have any iron sights on this rifle because I'm kind of under this assumption that I have a LPVO with glass, doesn't need a red dot, and then a red dot, and then on top of all that, it's in a mount. So some of these folks that you see have flip-up iron sights underneath your optic, I have to ask, you know, if you really need those, are you gonna take your optic off your gun and then use your iron sights? No, you're not. So, and the likelihood that both of these items fail on my rifle and I need iron sights, highly unlikely. You'll see up here on the top or on the front here, it does not have a muzzle brake per se. It's just a flash hider, somewhat compensator. I can't say it does a whole lot, but what I'll say is that with this rifle being mid-length and gassed perfectly, it has nearly no recoil. It's extremely soft and flat shooting with a perfect ejection pattern, okay? The bolt carrier itself is an M16 profile bolt carrier that is nitrided, everything on it, super slick, well made, machined. They say that it's actually ground inside and out. I would have to agree with that because it's so smooth. The rifle itself right now as it sits has 1,000 rounds through it. I've experienced one malfunction. It was a failure to extract. The casing was partially stuck in the chamber. So chances are that it's probably ammunition related. And then I had one other malfunction that I know 100% was magazine related because it was a bad magazine that I had marked. And really with that one being said, all that was, it just didn't lock the bolt to the rear. Outside of that, not a single malfunction. So today we're gonna go out, I will accuracy test this rifle after 1,000 rounds with a dirty rifle that has not been cleaned. I will then likely clean it if I'm not seeing good groups, which I doubt that's gonna be the case because I have shot it. Clean it, shoot it again for groups if I have to. But outside of that, the rifle has been 100% reliable. It's shot great, it's extremely accurate, and I frankly cannot wait to get this out on the range right now and show you guys how good this SOIDC DOC rifle from Mitchell Defense shoots. This Mitchell Defense SOIDC rifle is very dirty. I shot over 1,000 rounds through it now. I'm going to shoot groups out of it and see how it still shoots after 1,000 rounds, because I think that that's going to be truly what's going to show how impressive this rifle is. First bit of groups I'm going to shoot is going to be Frontier XM193 standard ball ammunition, 55 grain stuff, Hornady Match, SIG Marksman ammo, and then your AAC match grade 77 grain Matchking stuff. So all of them have proven to be fairly accurate ammunitions out of most rifles. So I have really no doubt that it's probably gonna be that way with this. So let's get this show on the road. Next ammo up is going to be Hornady Match. The first group of ammo I just shot out of that Frontier 55 grain stuff, I ran down and looked at it already. It's an inch, actually probably just under that, with ball ammunition at 100 yards. I'm not shooting 50 yards, I'm shooting 100 yards. A lot of folks, when they shoot ARs for accuracy, they're shooting at 50. And without a fraction of a doubt, this rifle itself is the most accurate AR we've shot, especially with ball ammunition. None of them shoot 1-inch groups with that, not a single one. Not the POF, not a Barrett I've owned, not a BCM, not a Daniel Defense. Let's see what else. LWRC didn't do it. A 20-inch PSA Saber didn't do it. I mean, literally pick an AR that we've shot or I've shot and not even made videos on, and they don't do it. To see this rifle complete that with 55 grain is impressive. So next up, Hornady Match. This is 73 grain ELD. Next ammo I'm going to shoot is going to be the AAC Sierra Matchking 77 grain ammunition. This is a 5.56 bullet at 2,700 feet per second. Next group of ammunition I'm going to use is the SIG Marksman 77 grain OTM ammo. And then after that, I actually dug these out, which I have lying around. These are law enforcement rounds. The one of this is going to be a 223 55 grain GMX barrier round. And then the other one is a 62 grain TAP barrier round. Both of these are special law enforcement cartridges that most people can't get. But I do have access to them, so I'm going to shoot those and see how they shoot as well. On the target here, these circles are each 1-inch in diameter circles, so 1 MOA circles at 100 yards. With this scope here, the Voodoo, this 1 to 10, this is an MOA variant. The center dot, if you're not familiar with this reticle, is a 1 MOA circle. So ultimately with this, it's not the most precise, say, reticle design that I would choose for myself if I'm really shooting precision. But for a duty rifle, AR type rifle, I think it's absolutely perfect, and it's very easy to pick up, especially when you're shooting plates and things like that. But very first group I shot out of the rifle is Frontier 55 grain ammunition. That's sub MOA here. Okay, after that 55 grain, okay, this is your Hornady 73 grain ELD match ammunition up here. Down here, this is going to be the AAC. This is going to be a 77 grain Matchking bullet. Right here, this is the SIG 77 grain OTM ammunition. Okay, what you notice with these four groups in particular is how consistent the rifle is with minimal cooling time. Okay, and in addition to that, what I've noticed with the other rifles I've shot is they'll shoot one ammunition really well, and it's usually never your ball ammunition. They'll shoot one well, and then the rest of them are just honestly a big pile of dog, okay, for lack of better words. This rifle shoots nearly every ammo I shoot out of it so far today at like a 1 MOA. So 62 grain TAP ammunition here, that's about a 1.5, and then this is actually 3 shots with 2 through the same hole. So you're shooting probably 3/4 MOA with the GMX barrier round from Hornady, and it's really good to see. And then on top of that, you know, if we come over here to the steel, I sat back there and not necessarily rapid fire, but popped off 5 rounds onto a 2-inch plate, and the rifle just has no difficulty doing that. Some rifles I've had with ARs in general, to get repeatable accuracy and consistent accuracy out of it is uncommon. And especially to do that repetitively with cheap ammunition is the best part, because if you're training and you're able to shoot your training ammo accurate, that's really, really nice. And overall, the rifle just shoots fantastic. So do a few drills and things like that today, do a little bit more dynamic type shooting. Then we'll wrap it up as far as how this awesome rifle from Mitchell Defense shoots. The beauty of the SOIDC is that for as well as it shoots at long range, accuracy and all that stuff, the rifle handles extremely well as far as the recoil. And it's a very, very easy rifle to shoot at close range too. And it's ultra reliable. So let's do a few drills here, some things I'm going to work on, and see how we do. What's noticeable about this rifle, and even Andrew mentioned it, is that how well balanced it feels. And I think a lot of that is due to the fact to how light the barrel is, but still maintaining a lot of good properties you expect from a heavy barrel. Is that even with a light up front of it, all the optics on this rifle bare is 6 pounds, so it's a lightweight rifle. But then you add all this stuff and it still doesn't feel barrel heavy. Sometimes with a 16-inch AR in general, you put some of those items on the front end and they start to feel barrel heavy, and this one just does not have that. It's just a very well balanced rifle, and it's an easy rifle, frankly, to shoot all day long. You guys, that's it out of this Mitchell Defense SOIDC DOC rifle. This thing is a flat out shooter. It's literally become my primary AR that I like to shoot. I have a issued arrow that I absolutely hate shooting, frankly. This rifle is awesome. It shoots freaking awesome. It shoots great. It's accurate. It's flat shooting. Everything I could ask out of an AR, this thing accomplishes. And it's truly made by somebody in a company that truly cares. The QC processes they're going through at Mitchell Defense and everything they're doing to put these rifles out speaks volumes to how quality and premium they are, regardless of how much they cost. This is one of the few rifles that I've ever truly felt like, yeah, it's almost $3,000, but it actually feels worth it to me. So you know what, guys, if you like this rifle, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and follow along, because you're gonna see a lot more of this SOIDC Mitchell Defense rifle on the channel.